is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
The Missouri Tigers grab a 35-10 season-opening win over South Dakota on Thursday. We're here to talk about it. That's Gabe DeArmond. That's Maggie Johnson. I'm Tucker Franklin. It's another edition of Mizzou. That's your weekly Missouri sports podcast on KC Sports Network. Gabe, how are you doing? It's been a while since we talked. How have you been?
It has been. I'm good. I just noticed, I don't know if anybody watches this on YouTube or not, but I'm sitting we're getting a lot of work done on our house, so I had to go to a different room. So I'm sitting between this, beneath this really bright light that makes me look like I might be on fire in this podcast. I'm not. I'm fine. But
it's good. Good. Love to hear that. Maggie, how have you been? How was game day?
Game day was good. I went to the Power Mizzou Yingling tailgate. Had a lot of fun.
That was the highlight of the day. Would you agree? Best part of the day by far.
Yeah. Coach Gates was there. Nice little guest appearance by Coach Gates. Desiree Reed-Francois made a little appearance. I don't know how long she was there, but she definitely stopped by. Lawrence Bowers was there. So if you weren't there, I'm sorry. I kind of feel bad for you. You really missed out. Tucker, you missed out. But I told a bunch of people on Twitter that they should be there. So if you didn't show up, I'm sorry.
If all you did was go to that football game, you went to the wrong part of that day.
Totally agree with Gabe there. And Gabe was there. I've never tailgated with Gabe, and Gabe was there.
It was a Thursday is not the easiest of days for me to get out of Kansas City to go to Columbia for a football game. But hey, I'm in the process now, and I'm making it a yearly tradition to go to the Missouri K-State game. I'm working on acquiring tickets. Matt Lane, also a member of KC Sports Network, is flying into town for that game from North Carolina. So he is flying in. The Chiefs play the Jaguars, I think, that week, which is a noon game, which is good that the Missouri game is an 11 a.m. game and not a night game, so I don't have to worry about the drive. I can get back in a decent time, watch some other football games too. But let's talk about Missouri's win over South Dakota. Obviously, we talked about last week with these games against FCS teams that you're going to take more negatives away than positives. And that was the general tone, I believe, on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it now. But that seemed to be the general takeaway of the game from South Dakota. Lots of things that Missouri can work on, but I feel like we would be doing a disservice to the people listening to this podcast if we didn't start with the quarterback talk. That's obviously the big talk of the town, and I know there's a lot of context that goes into it, so I'm just going to say the numbers. I don't want you guys to read into them at all. I'm just going to read the stat lines for each of the quarterback. Don't think I'm trying to take a side here, okay?
Well, before you read any numbers, I want to say that the lower numbers quite clearly were not given a fair shot.
Right,
and
correct.
Something untoward happened to cause the lower numbers. But go on, read the numbers.
Right, okay. Brady Cook, 17 for 21. Did he start 11 for 11? Is that what it was?
10 or 11, yeah.
10, yeah, it was around that area. He completed his first, we'll say 10 passes to be safe. 172 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions, 3 carries on the ground, 17 yards, and I believe it was a 15-yard rushing touchdown. So 15 of his 17 rushing yards came on that touchdown run. Sam Horn took the field in the second half. He was 3 for 5 with 54 yards, a interception, and a touchdown. There was a lot to be made of the quarterback, as you had already alluded to, Gabe. A lot of discussion around the quarterback situation, the situations that they were put into in the game. And we had talked about that, right? That they were going to go into 2 completely different situations. Play calling, I think I saw some people blaming play calling for it. I think I saw some people blaming the defense for it at some points, but all very weird, kind of justifying why Sam Horn looked the way that he did. But overall, Gabe, I guess we'll start kind of high-arching. What are your thoughts now after one game under their belt in the quarterback competition?
Well, my thought as of about mid-second quarter, which is what I wrote after the game and what Sam McDowell wrote after the game and what Ben Fredrickson wrote after the game and what I'm sure other people that write about Missouri wrote after the game was, oh, wait, there's no quarterback competition. Now, I want to be clear. There was one at one point. It happened in the spring, it happened in the summer, and Brady Cook won it. There are now people that seem to be upset and feel deceived by Eli Drinkwitz that he did not inform us at the exact time when this quarterback competition ended. I find myself in the strange position of having gone from 3 years of being accused of personally hating Eli Drinkwitz and having some sort of vendetta against him to now carrying his water because I largely have defended what he's done in the last week. I mean, it's possible that he thought, I'm pretty sure Brady's my quarterback, but I need to give Sam a shot in the game, because what happens if he just flips the switch and I go, oh my God, I didn't know I had this, right? What harm is there in playing both of them against South Dakota and maybe even Middle Tennessee? Oh, by the way, at worst, Sam is the backup. Yeah. Quarterbacks tend to get hurt in the SEC. I've coached a team 2 years in a row having to play a hurt quarterback because I didn't have a backup I liked. So I should get this guy in a game. Now, would I have liked to see him in the second quarter when it was 14-0 instead of in the third when it was 28-3? Absolutely. Would have liked to have seen that. But we've talked about this. Maggie and I actually talked about it preemptively at the tailgate last week. I feel like there are a lot of Missouri fans that are now mad that their guy didn't win the job. They are not invested in the best quarterback winning this job. They're invested in Sam Horn winning this job. And I don't really know why that is. I mean, I'll listen to people that say, well, Sam has a higher ceiling. I know what Brady is, and I think Sam's better. Okay, but the coaches don't. And he's not better right now, according to them. Now, if your argument is this coach hasn't gotten quarterback right in 4 years and I don't trust him to get it right this time, then okay, you want a new coach. You don't want a new quarterback. You want a new coach because you don't trust him to do his job.
And I feel like Drake delivered on his promise of getting the quarterbacks in the game. He never said that the opportunities were going to be equal. He never said, I'm going to give the same amount of passing attempts to both quarterbacks. That would be like saying, we're going to do 2 running backs, and I'm going to give both Pete and Schrader the same amount of carries. Like, why would you do that? Why would you tell your competition, first off, exactly what you're going to do? He never said that he was going to do that. Now, would I have also liked to see Horn maybe throw a little bit more? I mean, sure. But by the time Horn was in the game, we were up a good amount. I mean, we did talk about that. We would have liked to see him throw in the second quarter when there was something to throw for. But at that point, we're up 28-3, I think. I don't think he had really even thrown the interception yet, which, I mean, it wasn't that great of a pass. They should have caught it. We should have, he should have caught that ball. So I don't really blame Horn for that. But at that point, I mean, you probably should be running the ball. So, I mean,
he talked about this today too. Look, the plan was not to bring Sam Horn in and hand the ball off 75% of the time. Yeah. The plan was to let him play and run the offense. And then he got picked off and South Dakota scored. And suddenly it was 28-10. And Missouri, I think, punted on the next drive. And so then you're in a situation where, what if they go down and score? Then you're in a 2-score game. And so they hit the point at 28-10 after that punt. They hit the point where they just said, we just got to win this game. We just got to get out of here and not sweat. And it was pretty obvious South Dakota wasn't going to go score 21 points against Missouri's defense. But, at that point, style points go away. And it's just, all right, let's just get out of here, make sure we win a game. Little added bonus, they ran the ball really well. They got down to the 13-yard line. Luther Burden made a guy miss. Tollison made a great block. And Sam Horn got his first career touchdown pass on the exact kind of pass they hate Brady Cook throwing every drive.
And the defense did look a little bit lackadaisical in the second half. I mean,
which is understandable when it's 28-3.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it is. But at the same time, when if you're throwing picks,
South Dakota also went for 4th down twice on that drive. So, their first 3 drives were 9 plays and 5 yards. At that point, it's like, okay, there's no shot here. I'm like, this is not going to be some miracle upset, and everybody knew it.
I truthfully thought it was very comical. Going back to the start of the Sam Horn era, I guess you could say, the Sam Horn half. How South Dakota took the ball and was had the ball for 8 minutes or something. I thought that was so funny. But the football gods were playing a sick trick on Mizzou fans of all right, you're gonna get to see him this half. You're gonna have to wait.
Cool. Then he comes in, and his first throw is just a freaking missile down the middle of the field to Mekhi Miller. And I just looked at Gerard and I go, oh no, that's not going to quiet anybody down.
No.
That's not going to quiet anybody down at all.
It was a great ball. And I was watching. Yeah. Great.
Being in the stands, of course, everybody is losing their minds because most of the people around you are, we've been saying this the entire time, blah, 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 blah. Then he throws
fair though. That was kind of a, that was there's not another quarterback on the roster who can throw that ball like that.
No, I mean, none of them are going to be pitching in the major leagues either. So, but then he throws the pick and it's just dead silent. I mean, you could hear a pin drop in my section. It's just, so it's very it's just a tale of two things. It's, you see the Sam Horn of, oh, this is the 4-star prospect. That's the one we watched all these highlight tapes on. That's the guy that was throwing the ball to Travis Hunter. That's what you see. And then,
by the way, would Travis Hunter make me a 4-star prospect?
He might.
I'm not saying Sam Horn is not good, but me throwing to Travis Hunter is probably good for 150 and a touchdown every.
I mean,
dude is good. He's going to be playing on Sundays very, 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 very soon. He might be playing both ways on Sundays, truthfully, because he's elite at both of them.
Might be a lot of guys on that Colorado team that are doing that. But no, you see that, and then you also see what maybe the coaching staff is seeing at practices that the fan base isn't seeing, or the people on X or Twitter, as you said, Tucker, are not seeing. So yeah, you get that tale of two sides.
What I think was really interesting to me, and I even tweeted this out after the game. I tweeted during the game at halftime. I said, well, I've just realized whatever your opinion was of Brady Cook going into this game, it's going to be the same leaving it. People weren't really going to move one way or the other on Brady Cook. Offense looked like it ran so much better with Brady Cook at quarterback than it did with Sam Horn. And that might be unfair, right? With terms of the situations and everything, but it just seemed like things were on time with Brady Cook, and I get it. I understand. I saw that ball from Sam Horn, and I said, wow, that is the best ball we've seen thrown in Furrow Field in a couple of years. And I got really excited about it. But then there were a couple times, the back shoulder ball, I think on third down, kind of closer to the red zone, he throws that ball out of bounds. That placement on that pass wasn't too great. I think he throws the ball behind him a little bit. A ball that should have been caught, but it threw it behind him a little bit on the interception. There's a couple of things that you can pick apart. I know that one of the things against Brady Cook is his downfield throwing ability. He underthrew Luther Burden on a ball one time, and people were like, "That's it right there. That's why we don't want it. He's going to get Luther Burden killed out there." And it's guys, calm down. It's okay. They had that drive right before half. That was a good drive. There were some miscues on it, right? But it was a very good drive. And after that, I was like, okay, that's what you want to see from a quarterback.
Brady had 5 drives. He had 4 touchdowns and a missed field. I mean, it's tough to be a lot better than that. Now,
yeah,
the comp I've made a couple times this week, and I think you guys will appreciate. I think you've followed the Chiefs long enough to appreciate this. Brady Cook's Alex.
100%. Yes.
He's going to go out there. He's not going to beat you. He's also not usually going to be the reason you win. He's not flashy. He's relatively efficient. And let's be honest, as a fan, he's kind of boring. That was a boring first half. They scored 28 points, but you're they threw one ball 20 yards down the field. He'd rather get the 5 on the screen pass than take the risk of the 40-yarder. And I'm not saying that's Brady's thought process, but this is what people always said about Alex, right? So Missouri fans right now are going, well, but we might have Mahomes on the bench. Well, you might. You might also have Brody Croyle on the bench. We literally have no idea. It's just like Chiefs fans all through the out. I've really good friends who are really smart Chiefs fans who are like, yeah, I like him and he wins, but like when you get to push comes to shove, he's not going to take us where we want to go. Now, the difference between the NFL and college is we're not talking about winning a college football. Sam Horn's not winning a college football playoff game with this team either. Mahomes probably would, honestly. If you put Mahomes on this Missouri team, I think he probably wins the college football playoff. But other than that, I mean, so I think some Missouri fans have set the ceiling with Brady Cook at 6 or 7 wins, and I think that's unfair. That's too low. Do I think they can win 11 with him? No, but I don't think they have a guy on the roster who can win 11 either.
It's a great point, and I think that's something to take with you into this next game. We'll get into kind of some more Middle Tennessee talk, but I do want to tell you about our friends at Home Field Apparel real quick before we hit our first break and kind of move on. Listen, they've got some great drops going on over there. I waxed poetically about the Delaware Blue Hen set that they dropped. They dropped a Southern Illinois Saluki set. They've been going back into old national champions, which is kind of sick. It's right up my alley. But they also have a really great killer Mizzou selection that you got to go check out. They have a second drop come out just before the season started, and we got a special promo for you here for listeners of the Mizzou That's Who podcast. You can use code KCSN23 if for your first time you can get 15% off your first order. So great deal there over at Home Field Apparel. Got some great shirts, a Script Tigers. They've got Truman dunking. And truthfully, Truman looks a little tubby in that to me. I think that he maybe spending too much time at Shakespeare's over there and that little whatever they got drawn up there. But they've got a great baseball tee as well. It's even 3/4 sleeve. I really like that one a lot. But lots of good stuff over at our friends at homefieldapparel.com. Go check them out. Use that code KCSN23 for 15% off your first order. When we get back on the other side, we are going to talk about some other takeaways from this game and then start to look ahead to Middle Tennessee State. Stay tuned.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? It seems crazy, but it's a good thing that that's over now, as the NFL is here and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer for Week 1. This week, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is also hooking everyone up with game day greatness. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Check the app to see what you get. Download now and use the code KCSN to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code KCSN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. See dkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. All right, I want to talk about some other takeaways that you guys had from the game. One for me especially was the usage of Cody Schrader. It seems like that he's going to be a pillar in this Missouri offense. They really use both running backs a lot, but I thought I was very impressed on like the first drive. They went to Cody like 3 straight plays, but like he got a lot of touches very early and very often in that game.
This is going to sound like I'm being mean to Cody Schrader, and I'm not trying to be mean to Cody Schrader. I think a lot of fans felt like I did on that first drive. New OC. We want to see something. We want to see this offense. Hand off to Schrader. Screen pass to Schrader. Hand off to Schrader. And I get that you don't have to throw an 80-yard pass on the first drive, right? But it was I was displeased at that particular moment. And it was not anything to do with it was nothing against Cody Schrader.
Exactly.
Just everybody came here wanting to see some sign that this is different. Let me just ask you guys this. If you didn't follow Missouri every day, and you didn't know Missouri hired Kirby Moore, would you have watched that game and thought there was anything different from Missouri's offense than you saw last year?
Probably not.
No.
Like maybe the offensive line played better, I think, which allowed
They did, yeah.
function a little bit better. But
play calling was
just as a
nothing.
base approach to the game, I couldn't. Now, look, I haven't broken down film. Maybe there were some different tricks out of different formations. I don't know. But just watching the game surface level that night, I thought I wouldn't know that there were changes in the offseason.
I mean, I think in the first drive, we were on a 3rd and long, and we threw a screen pass. I think we threw a screen pass, and I mean, everybody, the crowd started boo. I mean, they booed.
There were boos on the first drive of the game.
Yep. And I was like, oh, great. Here, where everybody's already unhappy. And obviously, I never boo. But I'm like, what are you doing here? Like,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Try to do something.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Maggie. I think the boos were that he didn't go for it on 4th and 1. Is that fair or no?
I assume that's what it was. I wasn't there, but
It may have been that, but the crowd was very upset that they threw that screen pass on a 3rd and long. They're like, what? Why are you throwing so short of the sticks on something like that? I mean, they were pretty upset. But yes, they were also upset about them not going for it on that.
Not going. By the way, punting on 4th and 1. No, punting on 4th and 1, clearly the right call.
Oh, we have two different philosophies, I think. But yeah,
why give South Dakota the ball at your own 45 yard line? It's literally the only way they can score.
Well, here you go. You shouldn't. You should be able to convert a 4th and 1. You're against an FCS team. That's where I was coming from. If you feel confident in yourself, you should be like, okay, you should be able to convert. We'll get 1 yard against an FCS team.
But you're also going to punt the ball, and they're going to get 2 yards in 3 plays, and then you're going to get
that's
it
also true.
1st and 10.
That's also true. But that's what I was in the part. I wasn't booing, but I was like, man, especially going into your point, new offensive coordinator, and I want to see a little bit of something. Go for it on 4th down. You know, what is it? Did Drinkwitz say last year that they were going to be like nausea? What was, I don't remember the exact word he used, but just like nauseatingly aggressive or something like that, and just like faked it on 4th down every single time and didn't run.
Oh yeah, but we don't have Tyler Macon anymore. So what are we going to do?
Didn't know what to do on 4th and 1. Tyler Macon's not on the team anymore.
And the irony was the only time they ran a play, they pitched it to Elijah Young and fumbled it. So
yeah.
But also, like, I don't know. He told us all summer that they had to take more deep shots and let the ball fly and be aggressive. And then
red herring.
You saw the game.
Red herring after red herring from this guy.
Yeah.
No, that was my first thought. Was about the running game and everything. But
this game, okay, because a lot of people were talking about this, and I know you talked about it a little bit on Power Mizzou, and I don't know if you want to break into it that much since people pay for Power Mizzou. But
I say enough things, enough places. It doesn't matter.
It'll eventually come out.
Do you believe the theory that coaches don't open their playbook?
Yeah. So I asked, like, sometimes a press conference is just like a play, right? Where I know what my line is, and I know what his line's going to be, and he knows that I know he's not telling me the truth, but we play our parts and we go on. So I asked him today. I said, because this is not exclusive to Missouri fans, although this is the 21st consecutive season I've heard this between week 1 and week 2 from Missouri fans, but also other fan bases say it. Anytime you open against a bad team, or anytime you don't score on every drive and don't score 60, well, I mean, we're saving the good stuff for down the road, right? Like we know we don't need the touchdown play to beat South Dakota and Middle Tennessee. That's not going to come out until Kansas State, right? So I asked him today, I said, do you and Kirby ever talk about the balance of needing to put stuff on film, but not showing everything, you know? Because, like, I remember Pinkel also, he used to run the trick plays in games like this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they would be up like 45-10 against some team that didn't know how to tie two shoes, and Gary's running a fake field goal. And I'm like, what do you do? But it was, they would put that on film. And he said, if we put that on film, Nebraska's got to spend 10 minutes practicing on that next week. And 10 minutes to a college football coach is, I mean, that's a big deal, right? So whatever. But so I asked Drink that today, and he said no. And he said exactly what I wanted him to say, which was we held nothing back. And so I could tweet out that Eli Drinkwitz said we held nothing back, and Twitter could lose its ever-loving mind. And every person in this play deserves an Academy Award for playing their part. Because, like, of course they didn't empty the play, right? But also, like, I don't think they have this, like, I don't think they use chapters 1 through 3 in the playbook, and then chapter 4 is the big games playbook. You know, now there's some wrinkles, right? There are some plays, I mean, that they won't pull out, or whatever they ran today. They have different plays off the same look that they'll run in 3 weeks. So there's some truth to both sides of it, right? Like, they didn't empty the thing, but also, like, we saw the premise of what their offense is.
Do you think Oregon emptied their playbook? He scored 80.
I did not see any of that game, but they ran so many plays they might have had to.
They scored 81 points, so I don't know.
It was on like the Pac-12 Network Plus after dark or something like that.
I feel like
you couldn't watch that game.
Yeah, you couldn't watch it.
Maybe drop football after that. But also, like, not 81 points, but that was, like, on a serious note, that was my disappointment in Thursday night. Shouldn't at some point, like, I understand they're playing 2 deep safeties, all that. Like, shouldn't at some point just the fact that you're way better athletically than them, some guy just ran by them and is open by 8 yards downfield?
Right.
Why did that never happen? Shouldn't at some point there be this gaping hole where you just have a 70-yard touchdown run because you ran through that hole and then you're just faster than they are? And they had 4 plays of over 15 yards, guys. That's not much.
I think that's interesting. We talk about coaches emptying the playbook and stuff like that. I know Andy Reid is a big philosopher behind, like, hey, if we do this play now, they've got to spend time thinking, like the snow globe play. Why bring that out in week 18? Because any team they play in the playoffs is going to have to spend time thinking about that play. So I do think that is actually a very real thing that football coaches think about, and then that football coaches do, because I don't know if you guys know this. Football coaches are weird.
They're quite neurotic, yeah.
They are very weird individuals. But no, I do think that, like, obviously they didn't empty the clip on South Dakota. They've got other things in the playbook. They're not, well, I should say I hope they have other things in
if
the
they
playbook.
Don't, I'm going to be so pissed off during watching this football season. Like, I'm going to be
oh my gosh. It's going to be bad if they don't have...
Going to be a lot of screen passes.
Yeah. Like, I just watched Cody Schrader run that ball right there. I can't watch it again.
Another inside zone. What are they doing? It's going to be all of us for this year. But no, you mentioned the points. I think when you look at the margin of victory, a little disappointing when it comes down to that. I don't think that all falls on the defense, Gabe. As you mentioned, like, they got to a point where they did allow that last touchdown there, and then it got some pretty close, but, like, at that point in the game, you're just like, all right, the defense kind of did what they needed to do. Yeah, there was a lot there, I think, from, like, Luther Burden still looking like Luther Burden. The times he got the ball, he looked like he was playing against FCS players, which is always a good thing to see when your 5-star recruit look like he's playing against FCS guys. But anything else from the game, maybe overall, the defensive side of the ball? We didn't really touch on the defense a whole lot because I don't think there's a whole lot there. I don't think we saw a whole lot. I don't think we got a whole lot from the defense, truthfully, on that. They just did what they were supposed to do, and that's really what you want them to do in the game against an FCS opponent. But they'll have a little bit harder of a test coming up this week.
There's one very important thing we haven't talked about, and I bet Maggie knows what it is.
Yeah, special teams.
The kicker.
Harrison Mevis.
I forgot about that.
I will say
slightly less thicker kicker.
Maybe he needs to gain some LBs back.
And maybe in a way.
Did he lose them? Or
He lost a little bit. He's
reportedly
like he is not. As someone who's gone through life understanding this, nobody's ever going to accuse him of being skinny, but he has lost weight.
So I will say, we were just talking about like the score differential, and we were saying like we would have liked to win by more. If he makes his kicks, well, if he just makes one, we cover. If he just makes one, we cover. If he makes both of them, we're talking about
41-10.
I would say we're happier. I mean, I think I picked us to win, like on here. I think I don't know. I think I was somewhere closer to like 50-10. I repicked it in like my group chat at 42-10, so I would have been really close with that score.
That just occurred to me. I picked 42-10. I'm actually now furious that Harris.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so sorry, Gabe. Yeah, I mean, it was bad, and it just gets to the point where it's not a cute nickname if you're not making your kicks. You know what I mean? Like it's just not cute anymore.
Also, when he doesn't make the kick, we don't get to see him do that cool little march off the field like he did last year. Was that against Georgia? Oh God,
yeah.
that was one of that might be my favorite moment. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a great little gif.
Yeah,
it's a good one to use. That's an S tier Missouri gif. With that one and the little kid, Mason, like those.
On a serious note, though, like it's a problem. I mean,
yeah,
it's a concern. Because he should have missed an extra point. He was 100 for 100, and he missed an extra point. It got called back because they were offsides.
And he just missed it. Yeah, he just missed it.
Yeah. Now Drink did say the laces were not out on one of his kicks, so he did have the Ace Ventura excuse.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Drink also said you still got to make the kick.
I'm gonna put
Finkel is Einhorn.
I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on here. I don't think that matters. That might be a conspiracy theory thing for me. I don't think that matters. Just kick the ball. I mean, it's pretty easy, isn't it? But no, I'll
disagree there. I think it would be very hard, but laces in or out wouldn't matter. I would miss all.
I did get a little overzealous there with that hot take there. I will admit, I got a little too big for my britches. I'll walk it back. I still don't think laces in or out matters. Anyway, what I was gonna say, the protection on the field goals were not great, and I don't think that we can definitely say like that's the reason, but that does play into it. The protection was not as good as it should have been in those times. He still should make those kicks because he didn't get any hands on them. But the protection is kind of what stood out to me first on those missed opportunities.
And they are changing the snapper on field goals this week, which if I'm being honest, seems to me a little like, well, we can't change the kicker, but we got to change something. So sorry, kid, we're trying the other snapper.
That makes me a little nervous, to be honest.
I mean, if you have issues, can you have kicker tryouts like mid-season?
Mike Leach did. He pulled a guy out of the stands and let him kick.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So no, you can. But like, I mean, that's the thing. He's the guy. Yeah. He's going to be their kicker all year. Like, Blake Craig may end up being an All-American. One of the very few things we get to see in fall camp is kicking, and Blake Craig is not ready to unseat Harrison Mevis at this point in time. But you're going to get to it doesn't matter in this game, right? All it matters is for
correct.
And honestly, if you lost money because Missouri didn't cover on that game, I didn't feel bad for you. You shouldn't be betting on that game. You're a terrible human being. But anyway, moving on. My point. It didn't matter in this game. It might not matter next game, but at some point it changes the way you call the game.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that they bet on the game too, and I was like, did you not know that they were playing two quarterbacks? I mean, first off, that to me immediately was like, why would you do that? They already said that they were playing two quarterbacks and they were getting equal playing time. Why on earth would you bet on Missouri to cover?
I bet the over.
Also, it's probably fair. There were probably some people that bet on that game who are not terrible human beings. That was probably unfair of me to say, but unlike Tucker, I'm not going to apologize for saying it. I'm just
that's perfect.
You just might not be terrible.
That's possible.
All right, we have to take a break. We're going to take a break, and then we'll get back and we'll talk about Middle Tennessee coming up after this.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
All right. The Missouri Tigers are back in action on Saturday. Should have checked the time of that game before I just decided to talk about it.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Okay, that's fine, I guess.
I think it might be on the SEC Plus this week, but I don't know that for sure.
And it's a whiteout for anybody that's going to the game. I feel like some people didn't know that there's clothing themes, so just throwing that out.
Yeah, don't they have something for every game?
Most
of the games.
I feel like you should be able to wear what you want.
Well, most of them say wear black or gold, but
Really,
you know what's
down the hours there.
yeah.
If you got some anthracite laying around, put on the anthracite.
Gabe was wearing I don't even know, blue and red the other day.
I had a red, white, and blue shirt. People accused me of wearing a South Dakota shirt. I said, I'm sorry, you don't like my patriotism, maybe.
He was just there for the national anthem. Yeah.
Call them anti-American scum is what you should call them. 6 o'clock game against the Blue Raiders from Middle Tennessee, coming off of a 8-5 record last year, 4th in the Conference USA. Had a 4-game win streak and kind of made a push towards that Conference USA title game. Didn't quite get there, but a Conference USA conference this year that looks vastly different than what it did last year. They also have a new quarterback, and that will also play into a lot of the new things with Middle Tennessee. And they're coming off of a 56-7 thrashing from Alabama. Alabama let them have it last week. Would love to see Missouri do the same thing. I don't know if it'll be 56-7 though.
Yeah, line I think is up to 20, somewhere around there, which seems about fair to me. That Missouri's better, but look, they're not. This same coach has brought 2 teams in here, one of which won, and one of which took Garrett Dinkel's team to overtime in 04 or 05, somewhere around that time, maybe 03, I don't remember. But so they're not going to come in here. I mean, they just played in Tuscaloosa. They're not going to be scared. Right. They're not going to be intimidated. If last week there was like a 4% chance Missouri could lose, like it's closer to 15 or 20. They shouldn't lose, but it is a losable game.
I don't know a lot about Middle Tennessee. I think they had 211 total yards of offense. I remember that number because we had 211 total rushing yards, so it was easy enough for me to remember that number. But yeah, nothing really super stood out for me. I think they scored their touchdown in the third quarter. I think it was like 28-0 at halftime. So it was similar to our score, honestly. They played a similar. Alabama scored about to the same amount of points as we did going into halftime. So, but then they kind of, kicked it into gear in the second half. So
they don't have they're kind of older when it comes to like the offensive line and the offensive front. They got some transfer guys into the wide receiver room in terms of not necessarily their starters, but depth-wise, they've got a lot of depth transfers in. But a school, again, that, is not going to get a lot of transfer guys anyway. So a lot of guys who have been there and they have kind of been growing up in that program. The quarterback that they got is Nicholas Vatato. I might have said that wrong, but he's a redshirt sophomore there. He played a little bit last year. But again, when we talk about games against now an FBS team who plays in the Conference USA, was pretty respectable conference in terms of Group of 5. Have had some teams from that conference get some upsets over some over some Power 5 schools. A team that should be respectable in that regard. So what we talked about last week with, it's more about like what Missouri does. It's again the same kind of ways what Missouri does in this game. And Gabe, I want to ask you this: quarterback wise, do we only see one? Do we see them both, or do you think that we see? I saw some people on Twitter saying I want to see Sam Horn start this game, and
he's not going to
come in after that, and I don't think he's going to start either. Okay.
I mean, Drink said today Brady Cook is the quarterback. He's the starting quarterback. He also said that Sam Horn will play, They need to find opportunities to get Sam Horn reps. And somebody asked him today, is that score dependent? Like, in other words, does the game need to be out of reach before you're going to put Sam in? He said, no, he's going to get reps. I'd like to find him a series. He said, I'm not going to, like, he's not going to paint himself into a corner and say it's going to be the first series of the second quarter or the second series of the third quarter, whatever. Because, a lot of people have this faulty memory about what Gary did with Chase Daniel, that he always got the first, second series of the second quarter. No, he didn't. He did a lot of times. But sometimes Brad was playing really well and they were up 14-0, and it didn't make any sense to pull Brad. So Chase got the third series of the second quarter, or maybe didn't get a series in the second quarter. In that particular, he played in 10 games, I think, that year. So there were 2 or 3 games he didn't play. So, I think he'll play, but the situation will be interesting because, again, if you're up 14-0 and your starter's playing well, why yank it, right? Right. But if you're down 7-3, why put in the guy that you clearly think is worse? So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it.
And I think it's smart of Drink not to make any promises, and not even just not make any promises, but not say anything that can be misconstrued as a promise, because I think that that's where there was kind of a miscommunication between, fans and maybe what the coaching staff was saying.
Which really doesn't matter, right? As long as Brady and Sam knew the plan, it doesn't matter if any of us do.
Totally agree. Totally.
Makes sense. I mean, they're going to, this is one thing that I've learned since I've started covering sports, and I went to college to cover sports, right? Coaches will say whatever. They'll just say, they don't have,
there has never been a coach in the history of athletics who didn't lie. Ever. Right. And not even high level athletics. I lied when I coached my son's t-ball team. I told some kids that absolutely I thought they could be good at playing t-ball. No, you played right field because you were going to get hurt if you played anywhere else. But I don't need to tell you that.
Right.
Gabe knew the ball wasn't going out there. You pick those flowers, kid.
Right. I mean, if the kid hit it out there, he was already going to get a home run, and we didn't even count runs. So who cares about that?
So I think that's kind of the big, the big rubbing point there with Mizzou fans is I know a lot of people were upset, as we mentioned already, with the situations that Sam Horn was put in. And listen, if he was destined to be the starting quarterback of this Missouri Tigers team, the situation wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter what situation you put him in, because he'd be able to be, you would see him and be like, oh yeah, that guy should be the starter. I think a lot of people think, well, they're purposely putting the worst quarterback out there because this is what Drink wants. This is what Drink. No, they're not doing that. They're not purposely calling plays to run the ball all the time when Sam Horn is in. They're not. People sometimes try to big brain it too much when it comes to this stuff. It's pretty simple when it comes down to it. The coaching staff feels more comfortable with Brady Cook in the game, and it's clear when the offense is run. I feel a lot more comfortable, truthfully, and I like Sam Horn a lot. I like his arm talent. I think he's got some phenomenal arm talent. I feel more comfortable when the offense has Brady Cook at quarterback.
So what have we heard about kids for 2-3 years now since this portal stuff started? Well, they give up at the first sign of adversity. As soon as they don't think they're the starter, they just leave and they go somewhere else, and they're quitters, and America is soft, and they're everything that's wrong with the world. You know what Brady Cook did when his coach tried to recruit over him every day for 2 years? He said, cool, I'm getting better, and I'm going to go win the job. And it's not Brady Cook's fault that Eli Drinkwitz hasn't recruited somebody that's better than him. In fact, it actually kind of is, because Brady has met every challenge, and he's exactly what a fan says they want. He just needs to be a little bit better at quarterback than he's been so far, and he might be. If he can win 8 or 9 games this year, Brady Cook is going to be loved by this fan base, I think. Honestly, he kind of already, I say all the time, right, in this job, you don't really, I want Missouri to win because life's better, my job's easier, I make more money, all those things. I look at it, but mostly you root for people. I rooted for Martin Rucker because he was a really good dude. I rooted for Tommy Saunders because I knew what he went through to get there. I rooted for Denario Alexander coming back. I root for Brady Cook. I want that kid to be great. I want to see him just have a year where, look, if it was me, I would walk off Faroe Field every night with double birds to the stands. I know Brady won't do that. He's a far better person than I am. But I want him to have the opportunity to do it if he wants to.
I said that in my group chat too. I was like, I know a lot of you guys aren't the biggest fans. And I was like, I know a lot of you are Sam Horn believers. I was like, but I want this so badly for him. And if he gets it, I will be so happy for him. And I'm like, that's not me saying that I know who, this was before the game on Thursday. I'm like, it's not me saying that I know that he's the guy or I know this or I know that, because I'm not the person that makes that decision. I'm not the person that gets paid $6 million to make that decision. But if he is that person, I'm going to be so freaking happy for him. I'm going to be so happy for his family because they're great people too. So I met his parents. Like, how cool would it be? Like, I don't understand how that is not something that is like such a cool thing to have somebody that wants to play for your university, that is from your state, because that is what we're pushing. Like, we are trying to get people from Kansas City to stay in Missouri. We are trying to get people from St. Louis to stay in Missouri. Like, how cool would it be if Brady Cook can have that success? I just don't get why people would not want him to have that success.
And none of that is anything against Sam Horn.
No, not at all.
Right.
If Sam Horn was starting, I would want him to have the same type of success. But Sam Horn doesn't look like he's going to be the starting quarterback. So I want the starting quarterback to have as much success as possible. It just so happens that it's somebody who is from St. Louis that loves Mizzou as much as he does. And I'm not saying he should start because he loves Mizzou. I'm saying he should start because he's won the job.
I predict Sam Horn starts at least one game for Missouri this year.
Because of injury?
Yeah, because Brady likes to run, and he's going to put that move that he put on that South Dakota safety on somebody, and they're not going to react the way the South Dakota safety reacted.
He didn't even make him make a move.
Nice. He planted his foot, cut back the other way. It was a nice move, but it's like he takes hits, right? Cody Schrader said at times he's chasing Brady down the field, yelling "slide," and Brady doesn't slide. It's not really a thing he does. So, I would suspect there's going to be at least one game where they're going to have to turn to Sam Horn.
Yep. I like the ability that Brady has on his feet. And you mentioned the safeties from South Dakota. They're playing at South Dakota for a reason. They're not at Georgia. So no offense to those Yotes over there. They put up a good fight. But I had somebody send me.
They put up a fight.
Sure, I shouldn't have categorized it as good. I did have somebody send me a message that said, "Hey, just remember, we beat South Dakota and didn't storm the field. Kansas beat South Dakota. They're all over the field. Just remember that."
Oh, is that right? Is that the one that
it was like their first win in a while,
I think, in history? But now they're confused to what they're going to do at quarterback. I honestly thought Missouri State's quarterback has the arm of me, essentially. They did not have a very good quarterback. Yeah. I thought that they were gonna do. They were cooking on something over there, but then.
My favorite thing about week one of the college football season is all the first quarter takes.
Oh yeah.
We are 1/48 of the way through the season here, guys. We got a long way to go, man. We just passed the 750-yard mark in the marathon.
This is over. We punted on 4th and 1. Are you kidding me? This offense didn't change. But all right. Well, we'll be back next week with another episode of Mizzou That's Who, talking about Middle Tennessee and actually talking about a game that has some importance and will have some relevance that people will be watching. Very exciting game with Missouri and Kansas State. Hopefully, I will be in attendance that game. I gotta be in attendance of the Missouri K-State game. Hopefully, there's not a monsoon again. Sorry, can I talk about the weather? Hopefully there's not a monsoon. Hopefully it's a great day for everybody involved. But for Gabe DeArmond and Maggie Johnson, I'm not going to have us predict this game.
I'm very well.
Yeah, same. What Gabe said.
38-12. That's going to do it for today's this week's edition of Mizzou That's Who here on KC Sports Network. We'll be back next week. I'll talk to you guys soon.